Rejoice, everyone. We're back with another Sekhie Reacts to Fate. Should I move this?
Yeah, you should move that.
So this week we'll be working. We'll be looking at Chulainn Scathach, or Scathach?
Scathach. I think it's kind of up to translation because there's a lot of different ways you can spell it. Scathach or Scathach for her. And then no one's gonna get mad at you if you say Chulainn. If you say Chulainn, I might dump this on your head.
I never even thought about saying it that way.
A lot of people do because it's a CHU.
I think I've mistakenly called him Chulainn before I've done that, but...
Oh, yeah, no, that's not right. Because it's Ku is the word for hound.
But I'm probably just going to say Ku.
Yeah, we do call him Ku. He's my Ku baby. The amount of times that Ku baby comes up in, like, search terms and, like, automatic prompts when I type things these days.
That's a little disturbing.
What, Ku baby?
Yeah.
It's usually just the CU, the Ku. Like, my phone recognizes that now as, like, an actual name.
So, I'm sure Sekhie can input some photo here to make this more visually interesting when we do this, but I'll go ahead and do just the quick little rundown of them both, and we'll do the design second as opposed to what we normally do here. Mm-hmm. Since we're doing two today, that is. So...
Yeah, it's my, Valentine's Day gift is this entire month is Celtic Servants.
Yes, much to my chagrin.
I got him to agree to it. It's great. I am reveling.
So, correct me, feel free to interject if it sounds wrong. Scathach was Scathach was a warrior and a queen of a foreign territory called the Land of Shadows that housed the dead. She fought so much she came to desire two things. The first was an apprentice, and the second was a warrior capable of killing, of which, at least in Fate, never did end up happening. And then a demigod was born named Setanta, who was dubbed Ireland's Child of Light, and from birth showed superior talent and abilities, and was sent to live with his uncle Fergus MacRoish. One day he accidentally killed his master's guard dog, just as you do, and I can't tell whether it was an act of honor or sarcasm, he was given the dog's title, which remains his name, the Hound of Cullen, aka Chulainn.
Yes, the Hound of Ulster from the Ulster Cycles. And the story goes that he either accidentally or on purpose killed the hound of the blacksmith with his Hurley, which is kind of like...
So he's a puppy killer.
That thing was no puppy. Anyways, but he...
I am aware that it was a fierce beast of a monster.
Yeah, different tellings will say that he volunteered or he was forced to become, but he became the Hound of Ulster. And because of that, the flesh of dogs was what would weaken him. Like, the definition of, like, demigod is a lot more loose in Celtic mythology than it is in, say, Greek mythology, where demigod, you're the child of a god. In Celtic mythology, the gods don't necessarily have children so much as there are people who are chosen by certain gods or born with certain prophecies and abilities.
To my limited understanding, isn't it the case that there might have been a lot more characters that were just straight up gods in the mythology, but then later, as a lot of... we'll say external influence came over it, it's the legends sort of altered.
Yeah, unfortunately, in the case of both Norse and Celtic accounts of, like, gods and demigods and warriors and such, a lot of it was written down later by Christians, and it would be much easier for a Christian to rationalize, like, a great warrior who was, like, the chosen of a god than it would for, like, another pagan god in their accounts. So, I mean, obviously we don't know exactly what it would have been.
And this is going to be a little bit important later with a few characters, but from my understanding, a lot of characters in that mythology also appear in other, especially in British folklore in general, and they might have been the same person in the mythology, but late because the legends were so...
Pretty much. And so this is called the Ulster Cycle, the story that he comes from. And between the Ulster Cycle and the Taliesin are basically the greatest epics of Celtic Irish folklore. I mean, if you're talking about an epic of folklore from that part of the world, it's the Ulster Cycle. It's incredibly well known. There's tons of information about it. Songs, people worshipping. I mean, it mentions a lot of other gods, like the Morgan is mentioned. And then, what you said about Scathach, I mean, that's pretty much correct. I mean, queen, warrior, Land of Shadows. She had a sister, Aife.
Yes.
Which is spelled Aoife, but I believe the proper Gaelic pronunciation for that is Aife. Like Ayfy or Ayfi or something like that. which I really like that name. I think it's very pretty. And in the stories, Cuchulainn has a child with either Scathach or Waifu, depending on the story, but I think it's usually Waifu.
In Fate, it is Waifu.
Yeah, has a child with Waifu, and he ends up killing the child later on. He also has a best friend who trains with him, Ferdiad, and he ends up killing Ferdiad, and it's because he's also the base concept of a berserker. Like, in battle, he like actively undergoes like a blood rage or something. Like, his skin starts to like shift and peel as he like fights, and he gets stronger and more angry. And so often he's depicted with a really bad temper. He's not a good person. Like, he has a wife, Amir, and Amir's father doesn't want to let him marry Amir, so he literally murders Amir's father and everyone else in the castle, and then takes her away to marry him. And they love each other, but he has a ton of affairs throughout his lifetime. And like, she doesn't care, but he has a temper, and he's not really the greatest person.
I'll try to, since I obviously don't need to give you a history lesson or a mythology lesson here, I'll try to skim over just the stuff that might raise an eyebrow, maybe.
Okay.
So obviously various things happened, and at some point he ended up in the Land of Shadows, and Scathach, who was searching for warriors to serve as her apprentice, ended up training him, and eventually he, amongst other people, I think Ferdiad was one of the people that was with him there.
Scathach is kind of like the Irish version of
Chiron?
Yeah, of Chiron.
Yeah. And it ultimately ended up with him getting Gaibolg, as well as over the time learning pretty much all of Scathach's knowledge, which in Fate, I don't know if this is the case in mythology, ends up being a lot of runic magic.
Yeah, well, he doesn't ever use magic in the mythology. Obviously, I mean, he's primarily a warrior or berserker. He uses the Gaibolg. Mm-hmm. I think he's also traditionally attributed a couple other weapons, but the Gaibolg is the big one.
Yeah. In Fate, at least, he gains pretty much all of Scathach's runic magic, just maybe not the efficiency of use.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, because we get Casku.
There's a lot to that one that you do know about. So
I do know
we'll
a little bit about
get there when we get there.
Yeah, I do know a little bit about Casku.
Eventually, Ku would leave Scathach behind after helping her fight a war and probably banging her sister. And over time, actually, keeping with Scathach for a minute, the Land of Shadows, in Fate at least, and this is definitely a Fate thing, eventually would go on to separate itself from the world and become sort of an underworld-like existence.
Oh, so kind of like Underhill, like the stories of like the Fae kingdoms in Ireland.
Yeah.
They're separate, kind of not... Like, you enter a fairy circle, and then you're taken to Underhill, where...
And here's a fun part that might endear you to this. That underworld, in Fate at least, continues onward into the modern day.
Oh, that's fucking awesome.
As for Ku, he would go on to fight in a war against Connacht, sorry if I mispronounced that, against Queen Meb.
Yeah.
And
Meb would weaken him.
Yeah.
Well, the Morrigan weakens him, and then Meb sees his chance.
Yeah. And apparently that war sounds like a lot of plot twists here. Like, there was apparently a one-on-one duel in there that Meb just decided didn't matter anymore when she lost or something like that.
Yeah, I mean, basically what it comes down to is he fights on behalf of Ulster, and he's weakened by eating the flesh of dogs.
Yeah. Because
he is a dog, and you consume the flesh of something that you are, and you're weakened, and a spear strikes him, and so he, in a lot of stories, ties himself upright by his belt or like his intestines to a standing stone so that he can stand up and fight the enemies coming at him, and a raven lands on his shoulder, because ravens are the envoys of the Morrigan, the goddess of death, who collects souls from the battlefield. But his enemies refuse to kill him once he's tied himself to a standing stone, because he's so honorable and they're in such awe that they just let, they stop fighting and watch him to honor his death. And then they don't believe he's dead at first. It takes like 3 ravens landing on him, like the 3 envoys of the Morrigan, who's in some versions a 3-part goddess. In some versions, the Morrigan is part of like a 3-part trio of goddesses that rule over death and that kind of thing. And it takes all 3 of them landing on his shoulders for his enemies to believe that he's actually dead, because they're like, even though his guts are literally hanging out, he's tied to a stone and he's not moving, he's probably still alive.
Yeah, it definitely did happen. In fact, that's pretty important to something later. But as far as the Fate Wiki was telling me, he apparently took on Med's entire army alone in that moment.
Yep.
Like, there was no one else helping him.
Oh, yeah. That's a thing. And oh my god, okay. As a child, I had like this illustrated fairy story book that just had an image of like Ku bloodied, like lashed to a standing stone with his weapon in hand. And as a child, I was like, I want to be that when I grow up. That's what I want to be when I grow up.
So speaking of fairies, just because this is Fate and things do tend to come together in weird ways, I could be wrong on this because this has not, a lot of this stuff hasn't been translated into English yet, but I'm pretty sure they try to connect a lot of those mythologies in the back end with the round table stuff as well. So I don't know if that means that the Morgan was actually Morgan Le Fay in Fate, but that's the kind of connections I could see.
So I don't think that, so it's Morrigan, not Morgan. But and I don't see that being true, because the Morrigan is like an eternal goddess. I mean, she's part of the original pantheon of Irish folklore, but in a lot of ways I could see them trying to, I mean, they're happening at different times in history, kind of. Like, a lot of King Arthur mythology is presumed to be taking place, like, much later than a lot of what's happening with the Ulster cycle, but at the same time they're taking place in the same worlds, and there's elements of, you know, like magic and wizards and druids are very important to that kind of mythology, so I could see connecting them in a lot of ways, even in modern day.
Like, I know, and this is a bit of a spoiler for late FGO, as far as the part 2 chapter that involves a lot of the round table stuff, they do definitely connect those two, like ultimately try to bring those two mythologies together for that chapter. So they do try to link a lot of stuff. Again, I don't want to say yay or nay on the Morgan stuff because I can't say for certain.
I mean, I could definitely see it. I wouldn't necessarily say Morrigan and Morgan Le Fay go together, but I'd be interesting to see if they do it that way, how they would rationalize it.
Yeah.
Because I fucking love Celtic and Irish folklore. Look, I think it's stunning.
King Arthur's a woman that got a food a cock. Anything can happen at this point.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right, let's get to the servant themselves. Whatever bullshit Sekhie had on screen can go away now.
No, you guys are just staring at my recent searches, which was beef bourguignon, Julia Child's recipe.
All right, so Ku. Tight Moon. We'll start off with the one you probably know, and we'll stick to our pretty well tread format.
So
time.
I mean, obviously, right? I've seen Ku.
Yes.
Obviously, because we've seen Stay Night. We've seen, you know, we play the D&D game. I have played FGO. I love Ku. I love his design. I think it's really cool. I love it even more when he's shirtless. No, but I do actually... See, I really like that design, too. So, like, that particular design.
Here's the funny thing. Ku shows up so often. Like, this particular Lancer Ku appears in Fate Stay Night, FGO. This is his Fate Extra design, as I show you his ass.
I was going to say, you've left us staring at his ass, and it's a nice... See, I like that design. And
he even gets alternate versions in some of the spin-offs of Fate Extra, like this, and this is his most recent one, which changes direction altogether.
Oh, my fucking god, I love that.
Now, let me...
Oh, that's amazing.
And in Fate Stay Night, they have some more casual scenes, so you get stuff like this.
Oh, nice.
And this.
Oh my god, he looks like Renji. He looks like Renji in the human world.
Oh,
I don't know how to deal with that. I love it. I mean, I love Ku. Part of why so I watched Fate Stay Night was the first Fate I watched, right? And like Ku was definitely my favorite servant from then. I loved Ku the most, and I still like Ku the most. He's my favorite servant in the D&D game. Partially because he's simplistic, but also partially because he's just a character that I know a lot about, and therefore I really like him. Nice. I love that they've given him little abs. I approve. I definitely approve. It kind of looks like he has boobs, but I'm okay with that.
Just, as a servant in Fate, he is considered extremely capable, and it was just a lot of extenuating circumstances in Stay Night that led to him not winning the Grail War, such as Heracles.
Yeah, also, you keep nerfing him in the D&D campaign.
That's just because I'm continuously figuring out new things about him and reworking.
Keep nerfing my baby. He's my baby.
Well, it's hard not to nerf this motherfucker.
Stop nerfing him. Nerf someone else for once. Go fuck around in the boys' characters.
I don't know. Maybe I'd go nerf Herc if you guys didn't get him killed in the first session.
I had nothing to do with that spectacularly bad idea.
Look, these guys managed to get getting Herc killed.
I had nothing to do with that spectacularly and singularly bad idea. I haven't killed off any of my servants yet.
All right.
Unlike the boys, who don't care for their babies.
I'm going to quickly diverge a bit, because they do give us a few more forms of that same, like, specifically the same coup.
Okay.
In the Magical Girl series.
Nice.
Prisma.
Also,
coup.
While he's looking this up, everyone should go check out Miracle of Sound's Tale of Chulainn. It's absolutely amazing. It's a fantastic fucking song.
It should be.
And a great retelling of the myth, just like it's almost like a bardic song, like one of those things that the oral stories that are passed down and sung. It's amazing. Miracle of Sound does a lot of really great music related to like games.
There it is. Lancer class card. Chulainn. This is what Ilya does when she turns into Chulainn using a card.
Okay, that's...
Yes, it's fan servicey. We're not going to linger on that because I don't like it.
I mean, I was going to say, I like the whole armor, but I don't
like... But then
you
look everything below the chest.
I mean, they've given her chaps.
And
they've given her chaps, but she doesn't have pants under.
We're going to ignore the rest of that and move into the one that I actually wanted to show you, which is... Because in this series... They don't actually use this in the series itself, but... Throughout the series, the Prisma magical girls end up fighting more traditional servants to get these cards. You don't get to see this one on screen, but this is what he would have looked like.
That's the coolest thing ever. It's basically coup, but like part dog.
Yeah,
I love it.
I figured you would like this design.
That's really cool.
Otherwise, I would have gladly ignored the Prisma design.
Yeah, no, that's actually really cool. I like that a lot.
Let's see. And yeah, no, that's about all we have as far as screenshots go.
Man, I fucking love coup. So this is Lancer coup, but
yes.
I know that coup is also a caster, because you get caster coup, and there's a berserker coup. Which is really rare, and there's one figure of coup as a berserker, and it's like $400 resale value on eBay and everywhere else I've found it, and I want it so bad. But it's the only figure of berserker coup, which sucks ass, because berserker coup is fabulous looking.
I guess let's move along here as you're bringing up later coups. We do need to finish up our Lancer coup before we go into the later ones.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Unfortunately, I've done a lot of research on the way that the normal coups look like. And I've seen Satanta as well, briefly.
Alright, so let's go into his abilities here. You're familiar with them a little bit.
I play him a lot, yes.
So we hopefully don't need to spend too long here. Oh, I almost forgot the last coup of that version.
Oh, is there another?
It's not another install with the card, but in one of the Fate Extra anime, a weird different version of Rin Tosok emerges with coup.
Oh.
I don't actually think I could find a page on it, or it'll take too long to pull it up there. But if I just pull this.
Okay, that's fucking awesome.
Yeah.
Okay, that's fucking... I don't like Rin Tosaka, but I love Rin Tosaka. That's amazing. I love that. I love that so much. I would cosplay that.
I
wouldn't look good cosplaying that, but I would cosplay that.
In the video game that the anime is based on, Rin's servant is actually coup.
Okay, that's actually really fucking cool. I think that's way better than the other version of, like, Ku's armor on a person. Like, way better.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
Alright, so we'll get into his skills here a little bit. I'll try to move through these, because you know a fair amount of them.
Okay.
So the first skill we have here is Battle Continuation. You've seen it, where you could fight past the point of death.
It's him tying himself to the standing stone.
The source of that skill in Fate is directly attributed to his last moments where he tied himself up to make sure he didn't die lying down.
Yeah, okay, look. There's a moment in One Piece, right, where Zoro is like, Mihawk, strike me from the front because I refuse to let me strike you. I don't. It's dishonorable for a swordsman to have scars on his back. This is that same vibe. This is like, I am going to die as a warrior, standing upright, facing my enemies. Like, holy fuck.
And you know all the mage stuff with Cascu. Lancer Ku can do it too, actually. All of it.
Oh, nice.
He just chooses not to for the most part.
Yeah, that's fair.
And then you've seen the skill in the game, but he does have the ability protection from arrows, which is just any projectile he just cannot be hurt by.
I know, it's awesome.
They do every once in a while in the anime, but I don't want to show you that because that's a bit of a... That's anime, and that
also,
could be dangerous.
watching Ku go up against Gilgamesh, oh, stunning. Fucking stunning. I may not have watched all the animes that Ku's in, but I've actually seen a lot of his individual battles because I do look up AMVs for Ku. Sometimes there's a great AMV actually set to the tale of Cuchulainn.
I assume they showed the big, giant, incredibly animated one with Ku against the guy in the cloak.
Yes. Yes.
So, and then you know Ku's NP, the guy Bolg. The NP is a spear that, when activated, will always pierce the heart of its target, and it should be an insta-kill, but there's a lot of fate bullshit behind that, so it's usually not.
Yeah. Unfortunately, it was an insta-kill, and then you nerfed it.
Yes, having it kill one boss in a D&D campaign will do that. It's still pretty much an insta-kill.
It is, kind of, yeah. I mean, it would kill me.
Alright. Moving on, we'll skim this one probably, but this is Proto Ku.
Yeah, okay, so I've seen this version of him.
Yes.
I used him in one of our other videos. And I remember asking you why his spear was green at one point.
It's still Guy Bolg, it's just a different version of it.
Yeah.
And Proto Ku here is from the Fate Prototype series. I've told you about it, the one that has the male Arthur instead of the female one and was the original version of
I actually like
Stay
Proto Ku a lot. He feels a lot more wild than regular Ku. You know what I mean? Like more barbaric and that kind of thing, which makes him feel a little bit more like the original mythology of the barbarian.
So regular Ku is Ku closer towards the end of his life. Proto Ku is Ku more around the time, I believe, when he left the Land of Shadows. So
before he goes through all the pain and having to kill his son and his friend and
so he's a little bit younger than normal Ku.
Yeah, so he has not yet learned from his mistakes.
Other than that, the only other real difference is that this Ku wears armor unlike his normal version,
which just wears the bodysuit.
So make of that as you will, or interpret that as you will.
Mm-hmm. I think it looks great. I fucking love the art of every Ku I've seen.
Oh yeah, and then his NP is pretty much the exact same, just colored slightly differently. Mm-hmm. But this version also has a fundamentally unused, and this might be the case in regular Ku as well, version of Guy Bolg that he can use against an army, similar to how Excalibur works. But it's not Excalibur, it's different.
Okay, that makes sense. I mean, that would be attributed to his last stand in the battle with...
Possibly.
Maybe.
Again, this is Prototype, and
an army.
I've received some feedback about my Jekyll and Hyde episode that I didn't get everything correct. If I want to get it correct, I'm going to have to ask the creators of Fate Prototype to please translate this stuff.
Man, please translate this stuff and make more figures of Ku. I will spend my money on figures of Ku. There are very few Fate figures that I will spend money on, and Ku is one of them.
And I guess while we're on that, actually write the story that the original Fate Prototype story, and not just leave us with a prequel to a non-existent series, please. Thank you.
Yes! Give me more Ku. Give me more Ku.
He also has a separate April Fool's thing. Let me see if I could find it.
I don't get enough Ku. I need more Ku.
April Fools.
It's that first one. I love him.
This is Proto Ku.
I love him. That's adorable.
All right. Let's move on to more variants.
Cascu? Or Satanta?
Yes, Cascu.
Cascu.
So this is this part, and you might think you're comfortable if you've played part 1 of FGO. You're not. This will include spoilers for Cosmos of the Lost Belt, including stuff that hasn't made its way over to English yet. So
yeah, that stuff I found on accident.
All right.
That shit I found on accident when searching up Cascu. See, look, Cascu was already in my searches if you didn't know.
I figured.
That's literally the first thing that came up.
You've seen him. You know him. You love him. Although now we're not getting a good
That's because you clicked into the image, not into the individual image and not the...
There we go.
There you go. Yep. Glorious. Love. Preciousness. I love this version of Ku because, like, when he's, like, desummoned, he's just... When it ends, he's like, next time, summon me back with a spear, please. Summon me with my Gaibolg.
And this is just a classy craft essence costume they've given him.
I saw that. I love it.
That's the stage play.
Amazing. Look, the stage play does really good with a lot of their casting choices and the whole makeup and armor thing. Like, they make some really amazing versions of characters. Like, Ozymandias and Gilgamesh look amazing in the stage play.
So, the big spoiler here is that this Ku was not the one that was summoned into the Grail War that took place prior to Fate Grand Order that you stop in the the first chapter of Fate Grand Order. That was actually regular Lancer Ku. Odin from Fate Grand Order saw far into the future, or saw that he looked into the future and saw the events of Part 2 Cosmos of the Lost Belt and realized that he wanted to have a more hands-on role and made a version of him, and altered the Lancer Ku from the Grail War to be Caster Ku and gave him some of his abilities.
And I kind of spoiled that for myself one time when I was looking up Caster Ku because I got him in the campaign and I wanted to know a little more. And then I was like, knick-knack, check out what I found. And he was like, no.
Well, I had to deny that because we were watching a movie on the first chapter, the introductory movie, where they don't reveal any of that.
Yeah.
You gotta understand, this stuff took like 5 or 6 years to be revealed.
Yeah, because it was his noble phantasm that got me.
Yeah. On that note, we've gone over most of what he has here.
The normal stuff.
But then it's his noble phantasm. He's got Duke Odin.
Yeah.
By releasing all 18 runes he learned from Scathach at once, Ku is able to release a devastating attack, and I will not go into any more details nor spoil myself on the rest of that, so fuck off for any more details.
Yeah, I was like, look, he has an anti-army thing. Also, he has Wickerman, and I love Wickerman.
Yeah, apparently this is a giant summoned by the Celtic Druids, and has no connection to his runic magecraft.
Druidic magic would have been more time appropriate than runic magecraft, of course.
But they do tie some of the Celtic stuff to some of the more Norse stuff, so that's where the runes come from.
Which I could see them making that confusion because Celto-Norse mythology can often be...
Well, it intersects multiple times. Like, I think, isn't it Sigurd and Siegfried are often interpreted to be the same person across 2 different mythologies?
Not the way you're thinking. Not the way you're thinking, but I think it's the problem that the 2 cultures were very similar, and so they have similar myths to do with some heroes, and they're likely not the same heroes, but they're very similar. You know? It's kind of like how cultures that live next to one another can develop different mythologies, but they might be very, very similar even though they're different. It's not like the Romans and the Greeks where they were just like, let me trace an outline.
More extreme. They're like, if you look at Siegfried and Sigurd, they're completely different stories.
Yeah.
But a lot of the feats and stuff, like things attributed to them, end up looking very, very similar. So it's possible someone heard one story and eventually that sort of evolved in another culture to another story.
Yeah. Or somebody heard both stories and was like, these 2 sound similar, so I'm going to assume they're similar, like in later writings down and recordings of the myths. And often, it's just the case with oral storytelling that, like, you're having to memorize hundreds of stories to tell them again and again and again. Some things are going to get changed and mixed up and reused, always.
That just happens when you're in a certain proximity of the world each other, as opposed to Greco-Roman, which is just the Roman.
Copy-paste.
Yeah.
Copy-paste alt names.
Like, Zeus is Jupiter.
Yeah.
Alright, we're good.
They just both were like, huh?
Alright, so now to move on to...
Berserker?
Yes.
Ah, Berserker.
And we're back. So, next up, we've got Berserker Ku.
Berserker. Oh my god, Berserker. Oh, them thighs. Sorry, I love Berserker. I think Berserker Ku looks so cool. God, I love Berserker Ku.
Alternate costume designs. Let me pull up his April Fools real quickly since they don't. This is one of the ones where they don't have it.
Oh, he has an April Fool's?
All servants, as of the April after they are released, have an April Fool's design.
Yes.
So long as the servants at least had one April Fool's come around, it exists.
I love it.
Even some of the non-playable stuff.
I love it. It's so adorable.
All right. So, Berserker coup is actually not a coup that would normally exist.
Okay.
In this case, this is a coup that was... And this is spoilers for Fate Grand Order, by the way.
As
Part
all,
1.
You know.
Yeah. This is a coup that was changed by Queen Meb using the Holy Grail to reflect a tyrant who works with her that she would like to fuck.
I'm just gonna say that I like Berserker coup. Like, I simp for coup. I simp for all versions of coup, but Berserker coup has a special place in my heart.
This is a coup that has a much bigger, badder, and angrier disposition from his normal variant.
Oh my god, that's an awesome name.
And he's not full Gilgamesh, but he's getting there as far as his more I am above you nature goes.
Look, I'm fine with that. Like, you know I'm good with Gilgamesh. Like,
He's also absurdly powerful.
Well, yes. It's also really hard to get him in-game.
Yeah, that's because he's a story lock, which is almost harder than limiteds, because at least limiteds have a lot more rate-ups than story locks tend to.
Yeah.
So, I guess we'll go over his NPs, because otherwise he's very much similar to Ku.
Mm-hmm.
Noble Phantasm-wise, he's got 2. The
Okay.
first one is, take a guess.
Okay.
Gaibolg.
Yeah.
It's Gaibolg, but this time he's actually willing to use that anti-army function.
Nice!
So he will mow down an army of people with a single spear.
I love that. Because...
Also, it has a passive ability to curse people, I think?
Nice! Dude, that's fucking boss.
And then the other one is what you're seeing down here, Kurid Konchen, which is armor made of the same, it's made of a skeleton of a sea monster whose ribs were used to make the Gaibolg. Mm-hmm. So basically he's wearing a Gaibolg.
Yeah. Which is fucking awesome.
And it increases both his offensive and defensive capabilities.
God.
Alright. We'll do one more coup and then we'll look at some coup
Satanta,
noble...
right?
Yes. And then we'll look at some coup noble phantasms for fun before we move on to Scathach.
Yay.
Alright. So, Satanta is a bit of a sore spot for me and a lot of the FGO community. Well,
Okay.
Satanta here is technically an FGO
Is
servant.
that a fat puppy?
Yes. This is Kued is possibly...
Wait, I've only seen the card art for Satanta, so I actually haven't seen this image of Satanta. I've seen a
Well,
different...
it's all derived from the same card art. So.
Wait, did I see a different...
It might have been his
card art?
final ascension form, which looks like this.
Okay, that might have been the only one I've seen, but oh my fucking god, I love it. I love this so much. This is the most amazing, cutest thing ever.
Here's the thing, you can never obtain this in the mobile version of the game. This is only in FGO Arcade, which is a Japan-only arcade, arena version of FGO.
So what you're telling me is I need to get some really I need to go to a really high quality printer place and print a giant poster of this.
You could buy these online. The cards are physical in Japan.
Oh shit, then yeah, I need to get
They
one
might
of them.
cost you an arm and a leg.
I'm gonna just print my own poster. Maybe I want this in 1-to-1 scale. Maybe I want this with how tall he actually is. Maybe I want to make a cardboard cutout of this. You don't know that.
And unfortunately, because it is an arcade exclusive thing, I don't actually know much of the story reasons for this. And as you can see, they don't give us much to go with on the wiki here, so
Yeah,
I
it's
couldn't
pretty
play
short.
around too much with this.
But so Satanta's his name before he kills the Hound of the Blacksmith, the coup.
Yeah. That said, he does have an anti-beast skill against dogs specifically.
Yeah, I could see that.
His noble phantasm is called the Crimson Satanta. It's an unnamed sword that Satanta used prior to obtaining Gaibolg. It possesses similar power to Fergus's Khalidbolg.
Okay, which I don't know what that means. So.
You'll see that later on, but
Yeah.
that's the gist of it there. And I wish I could tell you more about him, but...
You just don't know much more about him.
Fuck arcade.
Oh,
All
that's
right.
amazing, though. I love
Let's have a little bit of a YouTube coup NP marathon here, why don't we?
it. Just do that.
So, We'll start with the normal one.
This video has chapters. What's the second chapter?
I don't know how computer YouTube works.
It was literally right there.
I wonder if this is the new version. That is actually not the most recent version, I don't think. I'll just look up update. If I don't see it, I don't see it.
That's the caster update.
Yeah, okay. I might be wrong on that. Coup alter. Right.
Once again, there are chapters. Here's the split between chapters. Oh, that's fucking sick.
Brutal. Coup. Do you really want to see Proto? It's pretty much the same.
No, and I've seen Caster like 30 times on my phone.
Caster's had an update.
Ooh. I might have seen it though, to be honest.
Well, we'll take a look.
Yeah. Because I was looking up Caster recently for a video.
Yes, this is the new version.
This one does not have video chapters.
Well, shift.
Wickerman! Boom. Boom, boom.
Now you want to see that, but cooler?
Sure.
Because Cascu is an FGO arcade as well. So he's got big boy energy here.
Wait, we can't get this game?
Nope.
Why can't we get this game?
Fate fans have been asking this for years.
Why are we not allowed this game? Is there a way I could get this game?
No, absolutely not. Going to Japan.
Couldn't I just order a copy?
It's an arcade game.
Oh, like an arcade?
Yeah.
Damn.
So yeah,
They
that
should
was
make
FGO
this
arcade.
playable.
All right.
They should make this a PlayStation game. They'd make so much money by making like a Genshin Impact but Fate.
You would think that's what... Look, Aniplex now owns the company that makes Fate Grand Order.
Okay.
So, we'll see, because Aniplex is owned by Sony.
Okay.
This is Satanta's NP.
Adorable.
Since you won't get to see this at all, I now introduce you to the Honore Arcade Pain.
Okay, that's fucking awesome. My life is less full for the knowledge that I can't play this like Genshin Impact. I feel like, y'all, we need to start a petition. Make a Genshin Impact but Fate. If there is a petition, I will sign it. I will sign it with every one of my screen names and my real name.
Alright, let's move on to Scathach Lancer. So this is Scathach, or Scathach.
Okay, so the only version of Scathach I've seen was the Nendroid that was available online. And that is this outfit with the Guy Bolg. Oh, that's cool. I like the changes.
And I actually...
It kind of, you know what, her armor kind of just looks like a different color-coded version of the coup.
A lot of the Celtic servants do have this kind of thing. I think that might be stand in place, because isn't a lot of the times in battle the Celtic servants were naked?
Yes.
Or character...
Or, like, wearing very little, traditionally, yes.
Obviously, you have to do something up from that.
Yeah. No, that's fair. I like it, though.
And this is just a different costume.
Oh, actually, that's kind of cute. Like, normally I'd be like, why? But actually, I think that's kind of cute.
Let's see if I can find... Here it is.
Oh, that's adorable. That might be one of my favorite April Fools yet.
Here's some more card art.
Genuinely.
Here's the fan servicey final card art.
That's not bad. You know what? I've seen worse.
And here's the very fan servicey alternate costume.
You know what the worst part is?
What?
I have actively seen worse so far out of what you've showed me. That's actually relatively tame. I kind of like it.
Look at them eyes.
I don't hate it.
Alright, so...
It hurts me that I don't hate that knickknack. Like, I feel like I'm betraying my moral values by not hating that.
So,
Oh,
Scathach here possesses a few things going for her. For one, she's got her own version of the Gaibulg called the Gaibulg Alternative. 2 spears, actually. Basically, Gaibulg is both of their effects in one, whereas the alternative is it's split into 2 spears.
no, it's kind of like it's like Diarmid's.
Yeah, I believe it's the prototype of Gaibulg.
Okay.
Alternative is.
Yeah, but it's like how Diarmid has the Gaibud and Gaidarg or whatever. Yeah.
And then she also possesses the Nordic runes.
Okay.
And that's actually one of her, she's really good with them. I'll show you some of that later, because we have a lot to go off of.
Good like Casku, or better than Casku?
She's better than Casku in a lot of this.
Okay. And I saw her NP mentioned a couple times, the Gate of Sky.
That is actually not the NP she uses in FGO usually.
Oh, because it was mentioned on a couple of the Coup wikis.
I'll show you. I'll explain that one.
Also, I do have. Okay, you're gonna explain it, but never mind. I'll save my question.
So first off, the Gaibulg Alternative. The Gaibulg Alternative is, as I said earlier, just the split ones, but so she uses one half to trap the enemy while the other delivers a killing blow.
Okay.
All right, Gate of Sky. The Gate of Sky, she's able to open up a portal to the Land of Shadows that can be used to trap her opponents, which usually kills them. All right. Do you want me to do what we did with Ku, and I'll show you all the different Scathach NPs later?
Yes.
Okay.
We'll go over the NPs at the end.
Then let's move on to the next variant of Scathach. Do we have?
I like Scathach. She's cute.
Move
so
over
she
to
comes
Lancer.
in too? Oh.
This is her summer form.
Oh, that's cute. Once again, I am betraying my core values, but I think that is incredibly attractive, and I love the way that she looks.
I guess they don't have the big fan servicey final art in here.
Oh, I want to see the fan servicey final art.
We can find it.
Because I actually like her bathing suit. I think it's really pretty. I hate it. I mean, I love it.
I know I misspelled Scathach there.
So she's an assassin, right? Primarily?
Yes. There's actually a little more to her than most Summer. Summer's just a tiny bit. Here it is.
Oh, okay. So same outfit, just different positioning.
Yeah. She's actually a welfare servant, so that means you get her for free if you play the event. The events are already long past any reruns.
Damn!
It might come back eventually, but not anytime soon.
Okay, you have to tell me if it does. I don't really play Fate Grand Order, but, I would collect.
So, that's why she only has this one art and then the fan service.
Maybe I'll just have to get a nice art prints of some of these. I think, honestly, what I'm going to have to start doing with Fate characters is I'm just going to have to, make a list of ones that I just want, a nice art print of, you know? And then just, start getting them. Like the ones that Realm Shifter got me for Christmas.
Now, do you want to hear the bullshit involving her character?
Yes, I want to hear the bullshit.
So, all the previous, you've seen a few of them now, the bullshit, fan servicey summer designs?
Yeah.
A good amount of them are her fault. She
Why?
made, the very first batch of those and introduced the concept of altering the Saint Graphs of Servants to be summer because they got stranded on a beach.
I think that's amazing.
So, she is the creator of the swimsuit servant. Our queen.
All hail. Because I really liked Anastasia's swimsuit, remember? I thought Anastasia was super cute.
You're welcome, Internet.
Scathach, we bow to your greatness.
Otherwise, she's fundamentally the same as her Lancer in terms of ability. She just specializes at beachside combat now. Mm-hmm. And...
Wait, sorry. So is she primarily an assassin but can be a Lancer, or is she primarily a Lancer?
She's primarily a Lancer that changed herself to an assassin.
Oh, okay. I think I had that the other way around when I was thinking about it.
Oh boy. So, before we do NPs, I do have to touch on it because I don't think there's any other time I can touch on this.
What?
Scathach-Skadi.
Oh, yeah. You said we weren't going to cover that this episode. Or did you decide that...
I decided we would just because there isn't really another good spot to cover it.
Okay.
It is a single servant.
Then kind of before you get into that, right? So you mentioned before that they tried to combine the Avalon and this kind of thing, and that there's a lot of similarities between the Norse and Kelto. And I knew when I saw Scathach-Skadi, right? Mm-hmm. I knew I was Norse. They've combined it with a Norse character.
They do some weird combining things. A lot of it's fairly out there fake high concept stuff.
Yeah, but I actually have not looked up Scathach-Skadi because you told me not to. So I am incredibly curious.
So let me first pull her up, and then I will explain part of what her deal is. Spoiler alert for part 2 of Fate Grand Order, by the way.
Okay.
So this is Scathach-Skadi.
Well, I love
caster
it.
servant.
Okay, well, I love it, first of all.
Let me see if
I love it.
this is her final form.
Fuck, I love every version of this.
Card art.
I love literally every version
And this
of
is the big final card art.
Oh my god, I've never loved a female character design more. I didn't even love Anastasia this much, and I loved Anastasia's card art and character design. This is amazing.
I might have added an extra I there.
Did you spell that wrong? You added an L.
Yeah, the internet will know what I'm talking about. April
Oh,
Fools.
she's so cute.
Alright, so
Aww.
let's explain what her deal is.
Man, the viewers are gonna get like whiplash watching me move around on screen at this point. Stop it!
Look at that Skadi design.
No! I am nowhere near that attractive. Give us back the pretty woman.
Alright,
Oh,
so
I love her also known as. Okay.
this is a version of Scathach fused with the Norse goddess Skadi. Mm-hmm. This occurred once again thanks to Odin, but not the same Odin. So, for fuck's sake, let's explain what a fucking lost belt is. This servant exists in a place known as a lost belt without getting too into the dirt here. A lost belt is a failed alternate reality which for one reason or another came to an end because humanity literally could not progress beyond the state they were in.
Okay.
In this case, Ragnarok did not end very well, as it doesn't, but even worse than normal. And the only survivors were Surtur, a handful of humans, a lot more giants, some Valkyries, and Skadi.
Okay.
To help Skadi take down the remaining Surtur and keep things going, Odin, before he died, merged Skadi with Scathach, because apparently one of the many stories that was mixed into the understanding of Skadi or something like that created enough of an association between the two for them to be merged. In this timeline, Skadi establishes a system in which the giants were fed human sacrifices to keep them at bay, while the humans are raised in tiny little farming villages until the age of 25, at which point they were sent to be eaten. And then she polices this system using the Valkyries.
So, like, I'm watching Stargate Atlantis right now, and they're in the Pegasus Galaxy, and there's this enemy called the Wraith, and there's this planet, and the Wraith feed on, like, human, like, lifespans or something, and so they enact what they call the cullings, and the planets in the Pegasus Galaxy were seeded with humans to develop, like, cultures and shit, and there's this one planet where, like, it's all children, like, people under the age of 20, because, like, the culling happens, like, every generation, and they just take, like, all of the older people while the children are, like, safe or some shit, and there's, like, the planet of children, and everybody makes fun of it, but, this feels very Wraith-like.
Very similar.
Yeah.
And then, I believe, if I remember my Lost Belt stuff correctly, the rest of the world outside of, like, that one little patch in Norway was just singed by Ragnarok and unlivable.
Okay. Well, yeah, because in Ragnarok, the world ends in fire and ice.
And that's part of why the human population needs to be cold. As well, Skadi couldn't beat all of the giants. Mm-hmm. The reason why I decided to go with Skadi here is because after the lore, the abilities tend to turn very Scathach.
Okay.
Outside of... Skadi ends up using some of her ice abilities.
Because she's a frost giant. She's a Jotun goddess.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But otherwise, she uses Scathach's runes, or many of Scathach's runes combined with her own. Mm-hmm. As an NP, she also uses the Gate of Sky. But unlike Scathach, she doesn't understand the warrior usage of it as much. So instead of summoning the Gate of Sky, she summons the Fortress of... from the Gate of Sky, pulls out the Fortress of Shadows, which provides blessings to those on the battlefield.
Okay. So support type, because she's a caster.
All right. Let's do a Scathach NP marathon now.
Yeah, because these I've not seen at all.
Let's start with the normal Scathach FGO stuff.
Our YouTube recommendations are starting to be filled with Fate stuff.
You're welcome.
It's a good thing I don't check the YouTube recommendations and shit.
Do I have chapters? I also hope this is the new version.
Not in this video. It is from 2020. It did say update.
Also, I appreciate the choice of music here, Honaka Green. This is a new animation too, I think.
Nice.
All right, and just because it's the same NP fundamentally, but you
she's in a
still
swimsuit.
That's not the only difference here.
Oh, okay.
You'll get it in a minute.
Oh shit! I love that.
She kicks it into her enemies where it splits into a billion pieces.
That's amazing. That's adorable. I love it. 10 out of 10. Annihilation.
Instant death, apparently.
Yeah, I could see how that would be inescapable.
And then I have another one I want to show you, because you did bring up Gate of Sky earlier.
Yes, because
So I'll show you Skadi's version, which is the bringing forth the Fortress of Shadows.
Mm-hmm. Awesome. Fucking awesome. That's glorious.
Alright, and last but not least, we're gonna pull up her Extella NP, because that one...
What's Extella?
Extella is a, like, you know the Pirate Warriors games?
Mm-hmm.
It's kind of like that for Fate.
Okay.
These are in English, by the way.
Oh. Are they computer only?
They're PC, Switch, PS4, PS Vita as well.
I might need to get one of these. This is glorious.
This is the Gate of Sky.
Okay, that's fucking awesome. Yes. That is fucking awesome. 10 out of 10. She black holes people. I love it. And not that she couldn't take them down all in one go. I mean, it is Scathach.
Yeah. So that is our Scathach stuff. I think that's enough about gay bulges. What did you think?
Look, I love Ku, and I have made it very clear that I love Ku. Anyone who has watched our Fate Grand Order set that came out already saw what I did with Ku, where every time anyone said Ku's name, I just put a bunch of Ku pictures. That took me so long to edit, and it was so worth it. I had to clean out like 50 pictures of Ku from my downloads, but it was amazing. And honestly, I love Scathach too now. I love Scathach. I love Scathach-Skadi. I'm definitely gonna add her Nendroid to the list of like Nendroids that I want. Like right now, so far, it's like Ozymandias, Gilgamesh, Scathach. I couldn't find a Ku Nendroid, but he has a couple of figures from his regular Lancer form, and then there's that one super expensive Berserker one, which is bullshit, but you know. I fucking love the Celtic Servants. I'm so excited for this month because honestly, plus most of them are from the Hound of the Ulster cycle, anyways. You know, with the exception of Diarmid and Fionn.
Yeah. So yeah, no, I think I'm glad you enjoyed these guys. I figured you would.
It's a nice change after Penthesilea.
We'll have discussions behind the scenes as to what this episode looks like. See ya.